Hi all, this is Param. In this series of videos, we are seeing like what are the different options we have to configure at the OS level, right? Or different configurations. Okay, configuration setting has to be done for the OS level for multi-hosted cluster. Okay, cool. So here we have to set these two environment variable y. Okay, ES underscore temp directory and libffi setup directory. So these two environment variable we have to set. What is some locations? Okay, some locations. Okay, I'll tell you what is that. Okay, by default, Java use JNA library, right? JNI. Okay, JNA, right? Yeah, okay, Java Native Access. Or in sometimes we call Java Native Interface JNI. Okay, sometimes back we have called JNI. Okay, what is that? Okay, sometimes we have called Java Native Interface JNA. I mean, which we write, which we develop. Okay, so JNA means it's a Java Native Access. Okay, that means it's something that we are going to access. So what is now? See, JVM is running within the OS. Sorry, with the OS level, of course, with the OS level, JVM is running, right? That is fine. Okay, okay. Still, some level of OS level operations, it has to be if it is need executed. Okay, it has to ask the help with the OS operating systems. Okay, say kind of in fact file system is handled by file system, networking, everything controlled by the operating system, right? In fact kernel is controlled by the operating system, right? Yeah, of course. Okay, the reverse. Okay, so kernel controlling all the stuff. Okay, so obviously that means kernel can have the control of file system and control of the networking, all the stuff. Okay, fine. So basically what is now Java is a JVM, which is virtual JVM. Okay, virtual is just a kind of virtual machine. Okay, so whatever the operation it has to be done, in fact thread level, thread also. Okay, in fact whatever it you want to achieve, okay, it has to depend on the operating systems. Okay, it will request to the operating system, the operating system will allocate it to this one. Okay, so with respect to operating system is a very thick, very extraordinary, much more knowledgeable process. That's what I can. That's what with respect to OS level, the JVM process, right? Okay, so for the many of the requirement, Java JVM will ask the JNA library, and we will use JNA library, or we will develop the JNA library. So the JNA is Java Native Access. So obviously many of the many of the OS level requirement is executed by the JNA. Okay, so this is with respect to JVM. Okay, now. So these two libraries are used. Okay, so what will happen? This is okay. Whatever we are discussing, it is applicable only the Linux, not to Windows. Okay, fine. So what will happen when you are accessing this library? Okay, this library is extracted itself in the temp folder by default. Okay, it has to be extracted by the temp folder. So either JNA or there is some extra feature library called well-versed library libffi. Okay, so either of these two libraries it will be used. Okay, so while using this library by the JVM, okay, it will be extracted into the temp folder in the temp folders. Okay, that is a normal process. But the problem is many of the operating system, not every, but many of the operating systems, what will happen it will mount the temp folder with no exe option. No exe is just an option. Okay, I don't know, no exe option, I will it should not run any executable, it can be only a file content. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, no process can start from that. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, but I don't know still exactly. We have to check with the Linux documentation what is no exe option. Okay, file for while mounting. Okay, so obviously right, within the Linux there are a lot of things, a lot of folders are mounted, right? Bin, yes, bin, var, lib, opt, something like that. Okay, you can have many, of course. You can, okay, if you want. So similarly, the temp folder, temp folder is mounted with the no exe options. No exe options. That is, I will show the word exactly here. So this is what no exe options. Okay, now if you are if it is mounted with no exe options, that will be create problem to Elasticsearch. Simple. That will create a problem to Elasticsearch. So now either we have to mount a temporary file system without no exe options. If you have done such a way, or if the operating system has done such a way, no problem. Okay, it will work. But most of the operating systems will do with no exe option only. So we cannot tweak that, okay. So in that case, what happen, we have to create another folder, okay. We can create any folder which is not mounted with the noexec options. So that's why we will create it within the opt or within the var folder, something like that, okay. So that file system is not mounted with the noexec options, okay. So we will create some folder in var folder or opt folders, okay, or log folder, something, whatever, or any special folder, okay. So we have to create that folders, okay. Create the folders with in the where a file system is not mounted with the noexec options, okay. Now you created the folder, okay. Now that folder is there. That folder has to be exported by the environment variable. So either es temp dir, and if it is lib is temp directory. So using this temporary variable, you can add you can point it to the particular temp folder, okay. Now what will happen? So whenever Elasticsearch is run, okay, whenever it accesses the any JNA feature, okay, so these two library will not be extracted in that place. It will be extracted in the given temporary folders configured in the environment variable. That's it. Instead of normal temp folders, it will extract that libraries into these folder which we configured instead of as usual slash temp folders, okay. So that Elasticsearch will so that Elasticsearch also does not have any problem, but operating system also does not have problems, okay. So it is a mandatory, sir, okay. I have done even one of the it is one of my steps, okay. It has to be configured, okay. Obviously the JNA access is mandatory, okay. It is not optional. It cannot be optional in any Java process, or maybe most of the times, okay. So so configuring these two variable, at least either one, okay, is mandatory. It is not optional. It's an environment variable, okay. So you know why, right? So it is because of the it is because of JVM has to access JNA. So JNA use this library. This library has to be extracted, okay. That library by default extracted in the slash temp folders, okay. So but with the OS level, it is mounted with it is mounted with no exe option. So but that will give the problem. So that's why we are configuring separate folder. That folder that folder's file system is not mounted with the no exe option. So we want such a folder for the Elasticsearch to run. That's it, okay. Thank you. Thanks for watching.